Well, hello. This is a random evening chat. I did not plan to go live tonight. In fact, it's been a long time since I've done a live that isn't associated with like the Monarch Messengers. I don't know. I guess things got super crazy in the month of May with like the school ending. My kids are out now, and I am loving summer. I am spending every morning in the bee barn, which is where I am now. It's my garden shed, drinking coffee and staring at the garden and thinking about what I want to do. Took the dogs for 2 walks today. Went on an exercise walk. Yeah, summer's I'm loving it so far. And so the plan for tonight is that things are going to go off the rails. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. I have a few things I feel like I can spew and talk about. I'm feeling a little saucy. But if you want to talk about something, put it in the question bubble, drop a comment. I'll answer anything you want to ask. I mean, I think anything. I can't think of anything I wouldn't answer, but people surprise me. And we can just chat about anything we want. And if you want to join and talk about something, I'm going to let anyone who wants to join the live. I'll keep you on. Once we're done talking, I will kick you off and I'll let someone else on. Someone says it's winter in NZ. I'm guessing that's New Zealand. Yeah. It's always so hard. I follow a lot of like New Zealand and Australia accounts. And I get so confused. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, they've got tomatoes going and it's December. So I don't have my glass of wine like I mentioned on stories. I opted for a beer instead. Yeah. All right. I also talked on stories today about this little gadget that I use to keep the mosquitoes at bay. There's just, there is controversy about everything. This uses something called metofluotherin. I mispronounced it in my stories. I called it metrofluotherin. It's metofluotherin. And there have not been a lot of studies about whether or not it is not good for other insects besides mosquitoes. But I feel like it is impossible to be perfect. And the mosquitoes are bad enough that if I don't have figure out something, the least worst option, then I won't ever be outside for like 6 months of the year. So I'm going to power this bad boy up and set it at my feet inside the bee barn. There's not a lot of other insects flying around in here. I should be okay. On that note, I do love when people send me information. I especially love when they send me information that is backed up with scientific articles. Like they send me EPA articles. They send me scientific magazine, journal, research studies. I like that. I don't love sending me a random blog because I don't necessarily trust those. I have a blog. You shouldn't trust it either. Don't trust and verify. That's my motto. All right, we've got someone in the question bubble saying, do you really use that mosquito thingy? I can't go outside without full DEET coverage. I use bug spray with DEET if I have to. I don't have any on right now, and I've got the mosquito thingy going. I do use it, and it does help. I keep it right at my feet. I'm not like actively inhaling it. I need some, I want to be outside. I don't want to be like a prisoner in my house with the mosquitoes. And if you live somewhere with terrible mosquitoes, I think you understand. Do you and your dogs get ticks? I do give my dogs flea and tick medicine. I have never found a tick on myself, my dogs, or my children in my yard in North Carolina. However, when we have gone to the lake, Smith Mountain Lake in Virginia, we have come home with ticks. And someone in my family, a male, had one on a very unfortunate place on his body. That was no fun. So we don't seem to have a lot of ticks. I follow, and I've been watching Steffi from, I'm going to get it wrong, New England Grown. garden. And she has been working to lower the tick population in her yard, and I believe she's using beneficial nematodes. And that's really interesting to me. You can purchase beneficial nematodes online. They do a lot of things, but apparently she is combating the tick population with them with what seems like success. So I think maybe it's grown in New England. Grown in New England, Steffi. I would check her out if you're interested in finding a way to reduce the tick population in your yard. All right, any other questions or anything else anyone wants, any topics people want to throw out there? I'll talk about anything. Okay, Notorious Shasha. Oh my God, am I saying that right? Notorious Shasha. That is a mouthful. Notorious Shasha. 5 acres. That's a lot. I don't have a recommendation for that. I'm on less than an acre. Yeah, I don't know. As I'm staring at my garden right now, I'm realizing that things are not going as planned. I don't know about you guys, but my garden has increased the amount of shade over the years. When we first moved into this house, unfortunately, the builder cleared a football field and put grass seed down, and that's where our septic is. And so we can't do a lot on that because we have the septic field, and then we have the emergency septic field if they had to move it. And the trees didn't have a ton of leaves or branches because it was all forest. And when they cleared them, there was a ton of sun everywhere. So I put my garden not on the drain field in the back of the yard, but as the trees have been able to branch out over the years, now my garden is in a ton of shade. We've removed the branches that we've been able to reach. However, my garden is still very much shaded, and I'm staring at the edamame right now, and it is the saddest edamame you have ever seen. I think I'm going to have to do a sun study where I come out every hour, take a picture, how much sun my garden is getting, and realize that in the majority that is shaded, I can really only do things like brassicas and lettuce in the summer. Like putting something that is sun loving there is not going to work. I did extend my garden with some of the Forever Garden Bed metal beds, which I really like. I really like these. And honestly, if I could redo my garden from scratch, I would do nothing but those. I would eliminate the brick beds that I built by hand. They're not deep enough. They don't look as good. Like the ground settles. I just really like the metal beds, and they don't heat up the soil. They don't fry your plants. At one point, I don't know if you've been here for a while, you may have seen it. On a July day in North Carolina at 3 p.m., it had been 97 degrees all day, super sunny. I got down on the ground and put my face up against one of the metal beds to demonstrate that they don't get that hot. I also took my compost thermometer and put it in the soil to show what the soil temperature was. And it wasn't really hot. I mean, it wasn't like what you would expect. So I've got all my tomatoes in those raised beds that kind of extend out into the grass. I've taken over the backyard. Husband has no say in the backyard anymore. He gets the front yard, but I'm starting to encroach there too. And the backyard is mine. I get to decide what is done with the grass, which right now we got rid of all chemical treatments in the backyard. We still have them in the front. I'm hoping to convince my husband to get rid of it though. And we're doing a mix of fescue and clover. So because my kids are super athletic, we're playing baseball, we're playing volleyball. I have 2 golden retrievers. It would not work to do 100% clover lawn. It would get trampled, it would get destroyed. Plus clover does better when mixed with the grass. So we're doing a mix of fescue and clover. And every year we will overseed with both fescue and clover, and it's doing really well. I'm not seeing a ton of weeds. I am going to be fertilizing with compost tea, and compost tea because then I'll have more to go further. Oh my God, that makes no sense. I won't have to use as much compost to get the bang for my buck if I make a tea out of it and then I can spray it. It'll just be easier than trying to like sprinkle compost over the whole yard. This is great info. I am planning a garden from scratch. All right. Think about what might happen in a few years with trees growing with branches and leaves. And then maybe do a sun study where you just every hour on the hour, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., you go outside and take a picture of the place where you want to plant. So you can see just how much sun it gets. A lot of the full sun loving things like tomatoes, they say 6 to 8 hours of full sun. And I know for a fact that one of my 10-foot by 4-foot brick beds has no sun at noon. Hasn't even had a drop of sun yet. Morning sun, I prefer morning sun to afternoon sun, especially for things like dahlias. Yeah, it's just, we are working actually on, the neighborhood might get sewer in the next 2 to 3 years, and we will pay the $10,000 to hook into that and get rid of our septic, because that will open up so many possibilities in terms for expanding my garden out into the yard. Oh, you planted 3 tree saplings already. That's awesome. Tell me what types of trees you planted. I don't know if you're talking about fruit trees or like ornamental trees. I have 1 apple tree, and y'all, it's probably 10 years old. We've never gotten an apple from it because, one, the squirrels are dicks. And they literally, the apples are like this big. They'll take a bite out of it and they'll just rip it off the tree and throw it on the ground. They don't even eat it. It's like they just are like, screw you, I can't get in your bird feeder. I'm mad. I'm going to rip these apples off and throw them on the ground. But we have the most apples we've ever had on the tree right now. The tree does have cedar apple rust, which happens when cedar trees are within like a mile radius of your apple tree. And there's a million cedar trees in this neighborhood, so there's no getting around it. I also think I had something called fire blight this year. So the apple tree's a mess. But as far as I understand, the cedar apple rust, while it might make the apples look bad, it's definitely making the leaves look terrible. We can still eat them. I'm hoping for 1 apple this year. I did even go to the lengths of putting, tried doing organza bags around the apples. Pisses the squirrels off. They rip the whole apple off and throw it on the ground inside the organza bag. The squirrels in my yard are next level. They chew through all of the string lights that I have up in the garden. And my dogs, they love to chase them, but they never caught one. Melissa! Hello, you should do fescue and clover, my friend. Hello from Vermont. Mango, brown turkey fig, and magnolia. That's fabulous. I have a brown turkey fig and also one other type. I've got 1 fig, and I don't think it was the correct ripeness. It was really gross. I think I just decided I don't love figs. So I'm not sure why I'm growing it. I did move it because it was shading the garden, and I moved it into a spot that's like almost full shade. So I don't think it'll ever produce fruit. A lot of things I grow, I don't grow them correctly, and I'm okay with that. I work with what I've got, and I try things. And then I know when I try things that if they don't work out, like, I'm not going to be upset. It's about managing expectations, right? Ooh, squirrels get your plums. That would be so infuriating. Okay, peonies and palmas. I feel like it's, God, Maureen. I'm trying so hard to remember people's names with their Instagram handles and also like where they are in the country. And I feel like my brain's on overload. Figs make great cocktails. Okay, I do love are figs what people like put goat cheese and wrap bacon around and bake in the oven? Because I won't say no to that. That sounds amazing. Kate! Who's Maureen? I feel like she has an Instagram handle that has a P also. Maybe Parsons and Peonies. I give up. An apricot tree. The squirrels get your fruit before I do. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know how, like, I guess if people have an orchard, there's just so much. The squirrels can't eat it all. So you have to, you get a crop if you have enough volume. Parsons peonies is Maureen. Okay, the double P, the peonies and palomas, Parsons peonies. All right. But guess what? Now I'll never forget it, Kate. All right. Well, I hope you're enjoying a cocktail right now. Cheers. I love y'all. Kate from Peonies and Palomas makes fantastic cocktail recipes. And the Paloma is actually my 100% favorite drink in the world. I'm a tequila girl. I used to be margaritas. I've moved over to Palomas. You guys should follow Peonies and Palomas for gardening, and then also a super fancy, fun, but easy to make cocktail. And hey, if you're watching a live and you didn't know, if you're interacting with anyone in the comments and you're like, oh my God, I want to follow this person, at the top of your screen, there's like a little drop down white arrow, and you can see everybody that's on the live, and then you can click to follow them. It took me a really long time to learn that. All right, since we're talking about Instagram, let's talk about Instagram lately. What I've noticed is my feed is almost 100% hashtags. Instagram has decided I want to see hashtags. So they're showing me these random accounts I don't follow, but they have a hashtag. So they'll show me hashtag Zone 7B gardening, hashtag like garden cocktails, hashtag whatever. And I'm like, what? So I have to go to the top menu on the left-hand side and click following so I can see the people that I choose to follow. And those people are generally people that that interact with me in a positive way. Hopefully I don't follow anyone that hates me. And then I see all this stuff that I didn't even know was being posted. I was scrolling through today and I'm like, Instagram, why are you not showing me this? Why are you not showing me that? These are the people I follow. I have told you I'm interested in what these people have to say, but you're not going to show it to me. That's okay. Okay. If you're just joining, this is a totally random evening chat with a beer. And if you want to talk about something, you can drop it in the question bubble. You can drop it in the comments. If you want to join the live and talk about something, what your favorite thing you're growing right now, a problem you're having in your garden, feel free. This is just going to be like a no holds barred, anything goes kind of live. And what's funny is for a while on Instagram, every time I went live, I got all these trolls. And by that, I mean like all these people, I don't think they follow me, and they were in other countries, and they would, oh my God, Kate, you're making a rhubarb cocktail tonight. Are you going to post that recipe? As soon as my grocery store starts carrying rhubarb, I'll have to like save that and make it. I tried growing rhubarb. It's too hot here. Failed miserably. Yeah. Oh, but on the lives, I would get a million of these random people asking to join. And so one time I was feeling like rolling the dice, and I let a random person on that had sent a request. And I think it was an accident because they were either in their bed or in their car. And they didn't know that they went live, and like we could hear everything that was going on. It was interesting. Speaking of, all right, Kate says she's going to post her rhubarb cocktail hopefully tomorrow. Speaking of posting, I've noticed that maybe it's because everyone's so busy with their summer gardens that that they're not posting as much or interacting as much. I feel like people aren't remixing each other's reels. There's not a lot of back and forth on Instagram right now. Maybe I'm part of the problem. I've been super busy just with like kid and life stuff. But I think I'm going to make a commitment to interact more with the people that I follow and they follow me, and do some fun remixes. I just have not felt creative lately. I don't know. I haven't thought of like funny reels that like get me excited to want to film it and go to the effort of it. And I also don't know. I also feel like Instagram giving us the reels bonus and like telling us that they value creators and all the hard work we do and the content that we put out there. And then taking it away was like kind of disheartening, because no one was getting rich off of Reels bonuses. I would earn maybe $150 a month, but $150 a month made it feel sort of worth it, all the work, all the effort, because $150 a month gives you funds to spend in the garden to then create more content, right? It'll subsidize getting a bunch of my favorite Coco Loco to be able to do some soil blocks, to do a live about soil blocking. It just really, that $150 a month doesn't seem like a lot, but not having it feels almost like a punch in the gut in terms of like, okay, got to go back to spending my own money to make garden content. And I don't know, is Instagram even showing it to anyone? Because Instagram's not showing me the people I follow. I don't know. I'm feeling really ambivalent about Instagram right now. So I'm dipping my toe into, I've been dipping my toe into TikTok. That's a whole other thing, y'all. I have not figured out TikTok. I haven't figured out like what it is that people gravitate to on that platform. I don't know. And then I'm also dipping my toe into YouTube, which, Lord Almighty, if you are like me and you do not like to edit videos, good luck. I mean, Erin, the Impatient Gardener, I think she was very transparent and shared recently that a video she put up on YouTube, it took her like 2 or 3 hours of filming and then 16 hours of editing. I might be getting that wrong, Erin, and I apologize if I am, but it seemed like a lot. And like, if you're like me and you don't even meet the criteria to get paid on YouTube, how do you put that much time into it? I don't know. So that's where I stand with social media right now. Also, I'm trying the Facebook thing, y'all. I just can't with Facebook. So, but I do have a page. It's just the same content I post here, just gets shuttled automatically over to Facebook. I don't even know if I set the page up correctly. I don't know what I'm doing. I never get on Facebook. Gardening Gaze, who am I talking to tonight, or is it both of you? All right. Irma Ortiz, 1969. I can't grow tomatoes like I did 7 years ago. Why do you think that is? Is it like your conditions have changed, your sun, your shade? Nostalgic necessities. That's a lot of time. That is a lot of time. I'm not even good at it. I mean, when I post a video on YouTube, I'm almost embarrassed. It's like, I just learned how to add music. I also just learned how to make the music not louder than me talking. And half the time I film for YouTube, I'm so used to filming for Instagram like this that I forget to turn the camera like this. It's a lot. Oh, you're both there. Good evening. I feel like it's the weekend. And if you caught my earlier story, I definitely told the person at Firehouse Subs when I was picking up my daughter's dinner, I was like, they were like, all right, thanks. I was like, you too. Have a great weekend. And I was walking out of the door. I was like so embarrassed. These kids were just looking at me like, and I went like to myself, it's not the weekend. It's Wednesday. They thought I was a crazy person. But yeah, it feels like the weekend to me. And I guess it's going to feel like that all summer, because when we don't have to do the before school morning shuffle, life is really good. And every day is a Saturday. Thank you, Organic Guru Grows, who is in the Philippines. I think it's so cool. That is, I complain about Instagram, but that is really cool that Instagram connects people from all around the world. What time is it in the Philippines? I'm assuming, I don't know, maybe it's daytime over there. Or maybe it's so far away, it's almost the exact same time. I don't know. My husband goes to Japan all the time. I don't even know how many hours ahead that is. He's already got his trip planned for next January. Okay, anyone have any questions? Anything they want to talk about? Anything you want to ask me about? I'll answer anything tonight. I'll answer about selling the frass, the insect poop, how much money I'm making off of it. I'll answer about affiliate programs. I'll answer anything money if you want to know about Instagram, working with brands, anything, accepting free product. It's 7:20 a.m. in the Philippines. Well, sorry about the dogs. I have to have them out here because if they were inside, they'd be barking to be let out. They literally bark if a car drives by. All right. Didn't know Instagram took reel bonuses away. Our Facebook page just got monetized for reels. That's awesome. Okay. Help me understand the criteria. Do you have to have 5,000 followers on your Facebook page? Mine says I'm not eligible. I don't even know how many followers I have. I probably have like 25. And share with everybody. Do you do anything different with Facebook, or do you just have it auto post whatever you do on Instagram? I'm very curious about this. Oh my gosh, Organic Guru Grows. You're from Huntsville, Alabama. Okay. But not originally, right? I don't know what I was thinking. All right. Kate wants to know if I have any partnerships with local nurseries. Mine agreed, but we don't know how to structure it. I do not have any partnerships with local nurseries. But Kate, now that you mention it, there's one I go to all the time and talk about and post about all the time. And that would be a good thing. I guess I could reach out and approach them. But again, yeah, I don't know how I'd structure it. Would it be in exchange for gift cards? Would they actually pay? I don't know. It's so weird trying to figure that out. You have 3,000 followers on Facebook. Why is it telling me I need 5,000? I need to sit down. Also, Facebook is clunky, y'all. Facebook is not easy. They don't make it easy. And don't get on me, but I'm feeling saucy tonight. Facebook is for old people. And if I can't figure out how to do stuff on Facebook, old people can't figure it out. Nostalgic Necessities wants to know if I incorporate flowers in your garden to encourage pollinators. Oh, baby. Yes, I do. Staring outside the bee barn right now, I can see sweet pea flowers, snapdragons, dahlias, calendula, cosmos, purple hyacinth vine, straw flowers, marigolds, rudbeckia, and a bunch of others. And that's just what I have interplanted with the vegetables. I also have a monarch way station that is registered. It's listed on a map, and it's got all the things that you need for the monarchs, like milkweed, shelter, protection, nectar plants that bloom from spring all the way till fall, because you got to think about when they're coming back on their way back to Mexico, they need fuel for their journey. And I tell you this, the other pollinators love it. So it should say pollinator patch as opposed to just monarchs, because that's where the bees have been hanging out all summer. It had poppies in it, anemones, and now it's got all these native plants in it, like Tango Agastache and anise hyssop and penstemon and bee balm, wild bergamot, gay feather, I don't know, a bunch. So yes, I absolutely plant flowers for the pollinators. I feel very passionately about the pollinators, and that is the reason I do not spray anything in my garden. Nothing. Not an organic insecticidal soap, not an organic neem oil, nothing. Because I don't want to accidentally impact a pollinator. Okay. Apparently Facebook has different levels. Tithonia! Yes, Organic Guru Grows. I have Tithonia. I didn't mention it right now because I'm staring at it and it's not blooming yet, so I forget about it until it does those gorgeous, super bright, orangey red flowers. And literally, it is like a pollinator magnet. That is the thing that everybody goes to. The hummingbirds, the butterflies, the bees, that's what they go to. They flock to that thing. How do I deal with slugs? I'm laughing because I just posted a reel about a happy accident where I figured out something like a slug trap that I wasn't expecting. And I got a comment that it was disgusting and they are going to unfollow me. So how I'm dealing with slugs currently, beer traps have never worked for me. They work for other people. That's fine. Scott from Stiller Permaculture uses copper to protect his plants. I like that idea. I don't have any copper. So what I'm doing is I had a plastic container of my sourdough discard sitting on the deck railing because I was going to take it to the compost. I forgot. It got knocked over. Part of the bottom broke, shattered when it fell on the ground, but I didn't know it fell, so no one picked it up. And when I finally noticed it, I was like, ew, what is in there? It was full of slugs. So now sourdough discard is my go-to for slugs, for a slug trap. And if I don't have any sourdough discard, someone sent me information that if you just mix like flour, water, and some yeast, let it sit on the counter for a little bit, that they'll like that too. So that is my solution for slugs. Organic Guru grows, the Tithonia grows 10 feet in your patch. I don't think I've ever measured mine. I have measured a poblano pepper, I've measured a giant amaranth, and I've measured a dahlia and a tomato, but I don't think I've ever measured the Tithonia, but they get tall, really tall. All right, I just want to point out that I'm sitting out here at 7:30 my time, and normally I would be completely covered in mosquito bites. And what I talked about earlier, just sitting at my feet, there's still like a couple gnats flying around, but I've gotten not a single mosquito bite. I think nostalgic necessities. You think you sat in on a Monarch Monday meeting that you were in. You might have. If you're not familiar, a group of home gardeners, we got together. Kate from the Bloom and Truth was the impetus for forming this group. And we got some home gardeners from all across the country together who care about the monarch and its declining population, and decided, like, what can we do to share with other home gardeners what they can do to help the monarch. And so every Monday we come out with either we alternate with a reel with like, either it's just fun, showcasing the monarch, or information. And then the other Mondays we do a live, and a lot of times we have special guests and we interview people. And yes, so you've probably seen me on one of the lives. And if you guys are not following monarch.messengers and you care about the monarch, I highly recommend it because it has a link tree. It's got resources. It's just got so much information, like the resources for how to register a way station, like what you need to make a way station for your monarchs. Just a lot of information. Hello from Argentina. Okay, Gardening Gaze is asking what my biggest garden surprise success so far is yet this year. That's a tough one. I actually got a couple strawberries. I'm growing strawberries for the first time this year. I got a couple strawberries. They tasted great. I gave one to my son. It's like the only fruit he'll eat. And he told me it was hairy. Okay, fine. I am also growing cup and saucer vine, and it's going gangbusters, but no bloom buds. So I don't know about that. We'll see how that does. Okay, y'all, we have a request for someone to join. Let's see. Hey, Elizabeth. I got a weird message when I tried to accept the person's video request. Let's try it again. I'm hitting accept and nothing's happening. Lynn, I'm hitting accept, Lynn. Well, we ran into a problem the Monarch Messengers did on Monday. We were trying to have a special guest on, and every time she hit accept to let her on, it wouldn't work. And it looks like I'm having the same problem. That sucks. Let me try sending you a request. Oh no, it says, all right, I'm inviting you. I don't know, Lynn. Well, it doesn't seem to be working. Someone else wants to try. Someone else wants to come on. Feel free. Gardening Gaze, you guys recently planted a ton of fruit trees and you made a mobile chicken coop. You guys want to come on and chat for a minute? Gardening Gaze are up in Virginia. I used to live in Virginia, right outside of DC. Not to plant Virginia creeper or native violets because they're too aggressive. Okay, here's an interesting question. So Honey Wheat's mom is saying a negative Nancy on my neighborhood's email list in Northern Virginia was trying to convince people not to plant Virginia creeper or native violets because they're too aggressive. Any advice? If something is truly a native, so you've gone to like your state's native plant society and double check that it is a native. Typically natives are not too aggressive. However, I have known of instances like, okay, so common milkweed is native where I am, but it spreads via rhizomes underground. And so it is recommended for like a large prairie setting as opposed to a small yard or garden space. So if you feel passionately about it, I would do some research on how those plants spread, if they are in fact relatively aggressive spreaders, and then send out an email with reputable sourced information about the plants, that they are natives, that they how they benefit the ecosystem and all of that. And then, but then maybe caution people that they can spread, just give them all the info. That's how I would combat it. I wouldn't like say the person is wrong, but I would give another point of view. OMG, okay, we're trying it. I hit accept, Gardening Gaze, I did it. It's not working, is it? All right, I'm gonna try sending it to you. All right, I just sent you an invite. I just updated my Instagram app also. The amount of bugs that Instagram has, it's so amazing to me that Mosseri, if you follow Mosseri, he's like the head Instagram guy, he's always coming on and saying, here's all this new stuff we're rolling out. And I'm like, don't roll out anything new. Just fix what you have. Make the things you already have work, right? Take all the people that are dedicated to coming up with these new ideas and move them over here and tell them to make everything work right. I don't think it works. Dang it. All right, well, now that it's summer, I can be doing a lot more lives. And if you guys like these random evening chats where I get saucy and maybe say things I shouldn't, we'll do more of them. And hopefully by then, I'll be able to let people on. All right, Elizabeth says passion flower is a native and it's aggressive. Okay, so Elizabeth, like, would you recommend no one plants it? Like, honestly, like, let's just have like an honest discourse. Like, what do you say to people? Favorite summer flower and easy to maintain. Easy to maintain, that's the kicker. I'm going with Tithonia. It's so easy. All right, Elizabeth says like the natives that are too aggressive are the outliers. Okay, so that, that's a thing. There's a lot of natives you can plant. So you don't, if there's a few that are exceptionally aggressive, I guess I would just plant the ones that aren't. You don't see the invite. I'm going to send it again. All right, I just sent it again. Elizabeth, I wasn't understanding the frustration comment. Plant it in an area where it can spread. Yeah. So if something is a super spreader, make sure you put it somewhere where you don't care if it super spreads. Knowing your area. Yeah. All right. Well, that's a big bummer because I was kind of excited to do a bunch of random people that wanted to come on the live, because normally I have like all these people that I don't know that want to come on, and I'm so curious because like you're nervous. You're like, what if you let someone on and they're naked? I mean, I could kick them off, but it would take a minute, so you guys would all get to enjoy the nakedness. Speaking of that, what do we think about the gardening accounts that, if it's a female, loves to show, like loves to wear the low cut things and bend over, or if it's a male, is constantly shirtless? What do we think about that? Are they doing it like for views? Or do they dress like that all the time? Elizabeth, I was tagging on Moseri comment, always rolling out something. Always rolling out something. And the stuff they're rolling out is not awesome. Okay, do you guys know about gifts? Probably not. Apparently, Moseri's like, we have lots of ways for creators to make money. We've got subscriptions. No thanks. We've got gifts. So that's where if you watch someone's reel, down at the bottom, it might have something that says like send a gift. And you can send the person a gift, and like after taxes are taken out or whatever, they end up getting like 2 cents. And it doesn't even tell you who the gift is from. I've never received a gift for a reel, but I've sent some just to test it out. I'm always like interested in like testing things out, figuring out what the stuff is. And then I followed up with the person who's like-minded like me and willing to talk about stuff, and said, hey, did you get the gift? And they're like, yeah, it was for like 20 cents, but it didn't tell me who it was from. So that's weird. And then there's badges. So when someone's live and you like what they're doing, you can send them a badge. Again, it's pennies. So for Moseri to be saying that like there's all these ways for creators to make money, there's not really. I mean, no one uses them. But they keep rolling out these things, and they're worthless. My IG is asking me to buy a badge to support you at the moment, but have no idea what that is. Okay, so yeah, I don't like that they ask people to buy badges for people. It's literally like a tip. It's so weird. And it's not a lot of money, and I don't know, it's bizarre. Maybe if you have like 1 million followers, and everybody is on the live, you've got like 500 people on the live and they're all tipping you $1. But yeah, it's just a weird thing. It's basically a way of saying thank you for putting out the content you put out. Here's here's some support. I think it's stupid, but I do always send one to anyone I'm watching who's doing a live. I don't know why. I think it's fun. Also, if you buy a badge, it like bumps you up, so your comment always is like what the host can see. Gardening Gaze, you can hear the birds in the background. It's lightly raining right now. The dogs are out here getting wet. That's going to smell amazing later when they get in bed with me. And yeah, now that you mention it, the birds are quite vociferous this evening. They're way louder in the morning, almost to the point where it's like I can't do a live because they're so noisy. All right. Anyone else want to throw out a topic? Anything. I'll talk about anything. Instagram just keeps sending me people wanting to be in the video, in the live requests. I keep clicking on it. Nothing's working. Sorry about that, y'all. We'll definitely try it again. For sure. Sorry. I think there's someone in my driveway. I think it is my teenage daughter. Just playing basketball in the rain. I love it. You have rain. I am jealous. We have smoke. Oh, you've got the smoke. Oh, man. Yeah, I've been seeing people post about the smoke. I'm so sorry about that, you guys. It just started raining. I'm not expecting to get much. I used to have a rain gauge, but it broke. I need to fix that. I would love to get a big summer afternoon thunderstorm that just dumps a ton of water because I'd like the rain barrels to fill up. We have two 550-gallon rain barrels behind my husband's shed, and that's what I use to water the garden and my compost pile. We have another 500-gallon and two 150 gallons on the side of the house. My husband uses that to water the front yard. I'm a big fan of rain barrels. What flowers are good to plant in the summer? Tithonia, sunflowers, zinnias, calendula. Those are all pretty easy ones to get going. But I love also doing calendula in the fall. All the calendula in my garden, I planted it in the fall. But I know not everyone can do that. I'm zone 7B. It was planted in the fall. It overwintered. And man, I had blooms so early and so many in the spring. Oh no, don't fall down. I knocked over my mosquito thing. Nostalgic necessities. How is the compost coming? Oh, not as well as I would like. We're at the 72-hour mark and I need to go check the thermometer. I gave the compost so much water today because I think I made the mistake of not watering it while I built it. I normally water every layer as I build the pile, but we had just gotten a bunch of rain and I felt like the mulch was super heavy and super wet, but I just don't think it was wet enough. And today I added a ton of water, which has cooled the pile down. So I don't think it's going to hit the goal of 131 in the 72-hour window that I like to see. I believe we're at like 115 right now, which is not horrible. I'll take it. Another interesting fact to point out is that the carbon source were wood chips, but not fresh wood chips. They were wood chips that have been sitting in my yard close to a year. And so they have broken down quite a bit. And I'm wondering if my brown source should have been more carbon that is less broken down. How large is your property? We're on 0.73 acres. I'm tempted to like restart the live just to see if I can get people on. But maybe not. All right, what else? What else can we talk about? What's something controversial we can talk about? I mean, let's think of some controversial gardening topics. You've got peat. You've got spraying using chemicals. What ratio of brown to green do you recommend? I mean, every article you read will have a very specific ratio, and usually it's like 30-1. But like, what does that mean? Like 30-1. I don't understand that. So for me, I take a 5-gallon bucket and I visualize, okay, for every like 2 to 3 buckets of 5-gallon buckets of brown of carbon that I'm adding to the pile, I'm adding 1 bucket of nitrogen of greens. That's my thing. So I'm doing it visually. And when they say those ratios of browns to green, those are usually by weight. There ain't nobody in their backyard weighing what they're putting in their compost pile. So they're not always super helpful. You will know if your pile starts smelling bad. You have too many greens. It's gone anaerobic. If your pile is not heating up, you probably don't have enough greens. It's really such a trial and error and like figuring out what works for you. It's a guesstimate. Like there's just nothing super precise, and you really can't get it wrong because everything that you do that might not be like correct in the sense of getting it to be compost in a quick manner can be remedied. You don't have enough water, you can add water. You have too much water, you can add more browns. You have too many greens, you can add more browns. Like you can, like it can be altered, it can be fixed. Like you cannot mess it up. People are so nervous to start composting because honestly, some of the stuff out there makes it sound so intimidating and so difficult. It just doesn't have to be that way. Do you have mealy bug issues? Are mealy bugs like roly-polies? I'm not entirely sure what mealy bugs are. Chris Breck, would you let me know exactly what a mealy bug is? Because if it's roly-polies, yes, I have like 7 million of them, especially when I add compost to my garden. There's a million roly-polies in the compost, and then I add it to my garden, and there's a million roly-polies in my garden. I cut a potato in half, and I set it cut side down on the surface of the soil. And every morning I come out and I pick it up and I shake it into a container covered in roly-polies. I take the container over to like a wooded section of my property that's really far away, or the compost pile, or a pile of wood chips, and I dump them out there. And that's what I do. Soil blocking, how much more soil you use compared to seed trays? Oh, I don't know. I've never really like considered that. I just really love soil blocking because of the ease of transplanting. Like there's like the reduction of transplant shock is phenomenal. It's more work though. Like you've got to really be on top of the watering with the soil blocks. They can dry out super fast, but I love it. I'm hooked. It's my favorite way to do things. But surprisingly, I still do some things in plastic containers, and I'm not sure why. I don't know. I do whatever I feel like doing that day. Mealy bugs are white stickiness on plants, kind of look like spider eggs. Oh my gosh, okay. Is that like where it looks like white fuzzy and you go to rub it off and this like white fuzzy thing goes whoop and like jumps around? Because if that's the case, I just squish them with my hands. If you don't know, I am big into squishing. I squish my aphids, I squish the mealy bugs, I dump the Japanese beetles in a cup of soapy water. I relocate the roly-polies. I let the slugs drown in sourdough starter. What else? I flick a lot of things off. The leaf hoppers, I flick the crickets or the grasshoppers. I flick them off. Yeah, and I know it's not what you want to hear probably. Like, unfortunately, I feel like we have been conditioned by, especially fertilizer companies, for the quick fix, right? Like we've been sold on, here's a quick fix. This is going to solve this. And that is attractive, right? Everyone wants a quick fix. But in nature, there are no quick fixes. And sometimes you lose a plant. I mean, that's just what happens. I don't expect my garden to be perfect. I don't expect to have 100% success. I just want to roll with the punches, and I want to have a balanced ecosystem. I want good bugs to show up because there are bad bugs, and that's what they eat. And so they're not going to show up in my garden if there are no bad bugs. Every time, I'm getting on my soapbox, y'all. Every time you spray a plant for one thing, you are opening that plant up to be susceptible to something else, because it is going to weaken that plant's defenses. And insects prefer for the most part, insects prefer plants that are weak. They don't love super healthy plants. Super healthy plants have high sugar content from their photosynthesis and their leaves and their stems. And the insect might take a bite out of it, but be like, ugh, because they can't digest those sugars. And then they're going to move on and find the weakest plant, and they're going to go to town. So I don't feel super bad about ripping out that plant, because even if it didn't look like there was something wrong, there was something that was making it attractive to the insects. I just have managed my expectations that I'm a home gardener. I am not relying on this for supporting my family. I'm not a cut flower farmer. So I can't speak to I'm not telling anyone to do anything. I am sharing what I do, and you should take it with a grain of salt, knowing my condition, like my circumstances, right? But the best thing you can do is educate yourself and understand how things work in the ecosystem and your garden. And some of the great resources for that are the Kiss the Ground. Watch the Kiss the Ground movie on Netflix. Do it. It's got Woody Harrelson narrating. I mean, who doesn't love his voice? Read books. I have a bunch of books listed in my Amazon storefront, like just the ones that like I really, really respect. I am also constantly sharing podcasts. I think I have a story highlight with my favorite podcast episodes. Joe Gardner puts out so much reliable scientific information. His podcasts are fantastic. No-Till Flower Farmer has fantastic podcasts on the subject. Just educate yourself. There's so much to learn. Like, you're never done learning in the garden. And once you start learning some of this stuff, you'll be like, oh my God, why did I ever do the things I did? Oh, I know. It's because companies are trying to make money. I need to go back through the comments. Sorry. Okay. Let's see where we are. How do you get rid of fruit flies? Like, in your house? I mean, if I ever have them, I just do that, like a dish soap and red wine vinegar in a ramekin, a small dish, cover the top with saran wrap, and I poke small holes in the top. And so the fruit flies go in to get to that red wine vinegar. They touch the surface of the water, which has got the dish soap. They get stuck, and they can't fly back out the small holes. That's what I do. Smile Garden loves Kiss the Ground. Oh my God, isn't it so good? So good. I'm actually taking the Kiss the Ground soil advocacy training course because I want to feel like I can speak in a very educated manner and communicate the things I feel so passionately about when it comes to the soil and how important it is to our earth, and just like how little soil is left, like the good healthy soil is left on the earth. It's really kind of scary. Okay. Fruit flies multiply in daylilies. Okay, so I grow 0 lilies, so I cannot speak to that. I had no idea fruit flies hung out in daylilies. That's interesting. I don't know why I don't grow lilies. Everyone has like a few plants that just aren't their jam. Lilies are not my jam. What else is not my jam? I have a few that are just not my jam. Like, I just probably will never grow. All right. I don't know how long we've been on here, but I have to pee. So I think we're going to have to end the live so I can use the restroom. But I kind of like this idea. I'm going to come up with some topics, hopefully some controversial ones, and then maybe start doing this once a week, every couple weeks, like an evening garden chat. No, let's just call it an evening chat, because it doesn't have to be about the garden. It can be about social media. It can be about monetization. It can be about anything. And I'll come up with some interesting topics, and maybe I'll reach out to some people and see if they want to talk about it. And I'd actually love people with differing viewpoints, because I have zero judgment. It's your garden. It's your space. You do whatever you want to do. I'm just sharing what I do. And I love to hear why people do the things they do, why they believe in them, how it works for them. And I think that we can disagree in a very respectful manner. And that makes for a much more interesting conversation. So if you are watching and you have a topic that you would be interested in discussing with me, that you either agree with me on or disagree with me on, send me a direct message and we'll do one of these evening garden chats together and talk about something fun, controversial, racy, saucy, who knows. All right, well, if you were here tonight, thank you for joining. Until next time, see you later.